Hello and welcome to Gabbett Media. I'm Grant Abbott, and in this video we're making a dungeon door. This episode looks at sculpting the rocks and stone. It should be suitable for following along, but I go fairly quickly through some aspects. Do check out the links in the description and the playlist on this channel and my website gabbett.co.uk for more free courses aimed at complete beginners right through to advanced levels. So we're pretty much ready for sculpting. There's probably a few details that may be added eventually, like bolts on these door brackets and hinges, and maybe bars going across this look hole here, but I can think about those a little bit as I go along, and we can always add things a bit later. What we will want to do before going into sculpting is select all our objects and Control A to apply their scale. That's the most important because sculpting will go a bit strange if your scale isn't set to 1. What we're looking for, if I press N and go to Item, the scale should all be set to 1 like this. So every object should have a scale of 1. Also, we'll want to join some objects together. This door surround I think will be much easier if I select all these items and join those together. So Control J is join, but make sure you do have an active object amongst one of these. So when I press Control J, it joins them all together, but it does keep the origin point where that active object was. It won't make too much difference here because there's no symmetry, so I won't really be using this origin point much. But of course, if you want to set it, then right click, set origin, origin to geometry will move it into the center of the geometry bounding box. Another object that's worth joining is the sort of bull head to the chin. So select both of those and Control J to join. We can rename these objects as well. We can put objects into collections by selecting them and pressing M to move to new collection. And it's probably a good idea to move my empty, my light and my camera into a new collection as well. Then it's much easier to hide things and so forth. Okay, so we're ready for sculpting. So choose an object and go across to the sculpting workspace. You might notice different colors like that. That's just the face sets when we joined. It doesn't make too much difference at this stage. And I'm noticing the shading for this cylinder here just seems a little bit off. And at the top of the horn here, can you see how it's got sort of shadows on the top here where this one hasn't? So something's not quite right. You might not notice that as a beginner, but if something's not going right with your sculpting, the reason may be the normals. If I go up to the top here where there's overlays and go to face orientation, you can see that those two are red. That means their normals are pointing inwards instead of outwards, and we'll have problems when we're trying to sculpt. So I'll press Control Tab to bring up my pie menu and go to Object Mode. Select that object and this object as well. Control Tab to go to Edit Mode. And this pie menu is just the same menu as up here, but Control Tab is a much quicker way of getting around. So into Edit Mode, select them all with A, and then Shift N to reverse the normals. And you've got the Recalculate Normals option here. Inside and out will change it just in case you need to use that. But usually it calculates them on the outside when you press Shift N. So Control Tab, back into Object Mode, and then select an object ready for sculpting. Make sure you turn your overlays back to face orientation off, and then we can Control Tab back into Sculpt mode, and we're ready to go. The first thing you'll need to do to all your objects is to remesh them. If I quickly go to wireframe mode, you can see that they're overlapping each other, and that won't work for sculpting. I'll go back to solid mode, and if I start sculpting this, it kind of works, but we'll get an overlap sooner or later just there, as you can see, with the green pulling through the blue just there. So we need to do a remesh so these overlaps don't happen and it'll all become one nice manifold object ready for sculpting. The remesh options are up here, or you can go to the workspace settings just here and scroll down to remesh down here. And at the moment the voxel size is quite large. If I press remesh, it will go a bit blobby. So I'll undo that and I'll choose a voxel size that's much lower. Now this does depend on your computer. It also depends on the size of your objects. So in this case 0.05 might be better. Let's have a remesh and look, and it's still a bit blobby. Okay, so I'll undo that. An easier way is to press Shift R, and then you can actually see what the voxel size is going to be. We want it to be reasonably fine, so somewhere around here, but not too much that it causes problems for our computer. So probably 0.02 in my case. And then I can press Control R instead of having to come down here to the remesh. Control R will remesh it for me. Now that's not a bad size. We can test it out a little bit. The brush I'm going to be using the most, if I pull out my brushes, is the scrape brush. Resize your brush with F, and then I can scrape away these edges and create some nice looking stone type things across here. So it's not a bad size, but we're kind of on the second level of detail, so we might want to go a little bit finer than we currently are. And I do talk about this a lot, don't go too detailed too early, but like I say, we're on the second level because we've already blocked out the shape. So we can go finer with Shift R, we can bring these down a little bit further, probably to 0.01. And then Control R, and you can see that's a lot smoother there. And let's use our scrape brush on the edges like this, and that's looking fantastic. Alt middle mouse button will center your camera around that point that you click. That's a really useful command. And we can come in, and I'm just scraping the edges of these blocks because the edges get worn first. That's why we have these sort of beveled, chiseled blocks like this. I'll turn the strength up a touch, make my brush a little bit bigger, and that's working nicely. So just quickly around, we can add a bit more detail later on, but we're just getting that base chiseled block look to start off with. What you'll also want to do is either with the crease brush, make my brush a little bit smaller, come in and just crease these in so there's a dent in there. The only thing is the crease brush kind of bends your topology and squishes it together. That's the pinch command here, so it pinches them in, squeezing the topology together. So I'll undo that. What I prefer to use most of the time is the draw sharp. It can be a bit too sharp, so you have to watch out for that, but in this case I think that's going to work well. Yep, and we got a nice separation there, and that's what we're trying to do, is just separate the bricks from one another. So in this stage, a combination of the scrape brush for the edges and the draw sharp for this separation, and you can be nice and rough at this point just to get the outline shapes. I've got my reference image on my second monitor, so you might want to have your reference image available. You can always use something like your outliner window up the top here, bring that across, change it to the image editor, and load in your dungeon door background. What you'll probably want to do with this is to press that pin option there. That will mean it won't change. Sometimes that happens with more UV editing and things. I'll just squish that in. Up the strength if you need to, just to make things a little bit faster. Just make sure you keep a level of control if you do up the strength. Okay, back to the scrape brush to sort out those edges. When remeshing low poly, you do get these sort of lumps in it like this. You can just smooth those down by holding down Shift, and a little bit of lumpiness can be quite good for bricks. This is a bit of a slow process because we've not got symmetry on, so we're having to do both sides. And certainly having symmetrical objects can speed up your workflow, but it certainly has a lot less character. It may be the case that you want to use symmetry to start off with and then distort it later on, just to speed things up. But again, you can lose a little bit of character even doing that. So I'd prefer to do this asymmetrically. Don't need to worry too much about the back here, but I'll do a bit anyway. It does depend on how your asset's going to be used, so if it's in game and you will see the back side, obviously you need to work on it just as much at the front. But this is more for demonstration. Maybe I'll put it on Sketchfab. I suppose I probably will make it available as an asset, so it's worth putting some effort into it. I'm just varying it quite a lot. Alt middle mouse button to recenter your viewport every now and again. Makes it a little bit easier, but a nice lot of variation. Again, giving it that sort of character. Okay, so we've got a nice simple base layer for our rocks now. We can up the resolution and then start adding a bit more detail. So again, Shift R, and we bring this down even further. I'll move in a little bit so I can see my squares a bit more. Shift R. Try it at 0.70. Control R to actually do the remesh, and you can see how much finer that's gone now. I'll bring up my statistics as well in the overlays, statistics, and then you can see how many faces I'm on. So at this point it's getting fairly detailed, and you do have to watch out for the sake of your computer how high you go. Just a bit of experimenting will let you know. Okay, so this clay strips brush might be quite a nice one to add a bit of variation to our rocks, or stones I should say. So Control to dig in, we can do some sort of dents in them and things like that quite easily. And then just smooth out, and it adds a nice lot of rockiness style to it. So Control to dig in every now and again, and then just smooth out. Okay, so we've got a bit of sort of rockiness going on there. Then we can start thinking about some cracks. Again, the draw sharp is a really nice one for this. Nice high strength. And if we hold down Control, we can sharpen some of these cracks up a little bit. Just watch out with a high strength like that, you might have to smooth the edge out a touch. Be careful not to go too far with this, so just a few cracks here and there rather than all over the place. It looks very wobbly at the moment in terms of the topology. We do have to remesh after this, especially when we're changing the shape drastically like this. So any big changes to the shape, you want to do that first and then do a remesh. I'll do that now, Control R for the remesh, and you can see it just makes it a little bit easier and to go in and do a little bit more. Might use the draw tool, it's a little bit more soft just for this particular crack in here. Every now and again smoothing out, and of course holding Control to dig in. And then Control R to do your remesh, and that reshapes it around here, so it's much easier to sort of smooth out and change the topology. Now some people might find the Orb Brushes. It's a certain pack you can get off Blend Swap, and they are really good for this sort of stylized sculpting. I might show those perhaps in the next episode. Every now and again do a remesh with Control R just to sort out your topology, and it will conform with all these dents in that you need then. Always every now and again just take a step back and see how it's getting on. It's looking quite nice. Might go a little bit more with the clay strips in places, just because I want them to be really sort of over the top, worn out rocks. This is meant to be a very sort of old cave dungeon thing. Now they look a bit uniform in places, so just watch out for that. Make sure you don't have too much uniformity. I'll keep doing a remesh every now and again, so Control R to remesh. I'm going to go back to the scrape tool now, sharpen these edges up a bit. Okay, so we've certainly got a nice base shape there. Time to go in and do a little bit of detail. We've got some really big cracks, but we'll probably put some minor cracks in there. So we certainly need to up the resolution a bit more. We'll probably double this figure, I think. So let's zoom in a bit to see what my grid's going to look like. Shift R. If I hold down Control, it goes a little bit faster. I think we can probably go to 0.005 and Control R. Still fairly quick, but we've got about 500,000 faces now. It's really not too high. So I'm back to my draw sharp again, trying to really sort of firm up these creases. I'll bring the strength down a little bit now, just so I've got a bit more control around some of these edges. And I'm literally just firming up some of the lines, making sure there's a clearer distinction, taking out some of the smoothness in a way with the draw sharp brush. Certainly in areas like this I want to increase that crease. Might need to go a little bit higher with my resolution, and the shape of that didn't quite work. So Shift R and we'll come down to about 0.45. Let's try that. Just that little bit more fineness is really helping. So I'm speeding things up a little bit more now, going to about 7 times speed. Hopefully from this you can get the idea and you don't need to see exactly what controls I'm using now. For this I'm just holding down Control with the draw sharp to sort of stick things out and make some lumpy bumpiness in there. It sort of makes a sort of sharp lumpy bumpy look. There was a small bit of this that I cut out. I had a hole in my mesh so it wasn't completely manifold. That can cause problems, but I'm going to do that in a separate short video to say how you can fix holes in your mesh. I felt it would be better as a short video because then people can reference it quickly if they need to, rather than having to watch the whole of this. If you do want to ask any questions, then do comment below. I do look at all the comments and hopefully get back to every single one. It can get a little busy and sometimes I miss the odd one, but you can always contact me through Discord or Instagram or these other social media sites. The links are all in the description. A few dents. By the main draw tool, just digging in, and then the draw sharp around the edges. Scuff it up a bit. Smooth it out if you need to. And those rocks are working out nicely. If I press Control Tab, I can go across to Object Mode, select my floor stones, Control Tab into Sculpt Mode. Now these do need a remesh, So Shift R to have a look at the size, that's far too big. So we'll come across and we'll go to something like 0.02 and Control R to remesh. And you can see that sort of smoothed it out. We'll do the scrape tool and we'll just quickly go across the sides and edges. And you can see I'm not being precise because I want it to be quite wobbly and non-uniform. I'll use the draw sharp and I'll draw in the kind of tiled structure. And just indent some of these a little bit more. And now we want to kind of move them around a bit and make them wibbly wobbly again. So I think the clay strip's probably the easiest for this. Nice big brush and just bring some up, bring some down by holding down Control. You can do this with some masking as well, but I don't think it's too necessary here. I might do that a little bit later on, we'll see how we go. So very rough and wobbly at the moment. Now we can up the resolution and start adding a bit of detail and making them a little bit neater. So Shift R, bring that across to something like 0.1 this time, and Control R to do the remesh. Just work on that outline a little bit more with my draw sharp. You can use the crease brush if you find the draw sharp a little bit too frustrating and annoying to work with. And remember to consistently do some remeshing to kind of sort out those blobby areas. So you use the draw sharp and then you remesh. Like in here, a quick remesh sorts the topology out, and when I smooth it out a little bit, works nicely. So you can draw these lines, Control R, draw them a bit more, Control R, and then we can go in and smooth it out a little bit. So you get sort of blobby bits like that, which you can just draw out. I'll speed this bit up a fair bit more so it's more of the same. Just going around, making sure we indent and creating a bit of detail like we did before. I do use the grab brush at the bottom as well, just to distort some of the bricks and blocks. Again, lots of people would probably draw a mask and then use that to sort of block out areas and sculpt them. I find it's just a little bit quicker this way, but I could be wrong. It's sort of a preference thing really. Creating those sort of dents between each of the stones was a little bit tricky using the sort of remesh method. Perhaps a Dyn Topo approach may have worked better here, but I do find using Dyn Topo with remesh can sometimes cause strange problems. Here I'm cutting the bottom of this brick using the sort of mask and clipping tools. I'll do a quick video on those, so I'll put a link in the description when I've done that video. It's probably worth saying, do check out the sculpting playlist, because in that playlist I've got lots of quick tips about doing certain things, so if you forget something, hopefully you should be able to look it up in there with a reminder. Now I'm just going through the detailed section, doing a few sort of cracks and dents, and just before that I did use the scrape tool a bit more just to sort of give it a more rocky type structure. Then with the grab tool go in, make sure the door can open. Lots of people notice those sort of things, so watch out for that, make sure it sort of works. And again with these sort of dents I just used the draw tool and then the draw sharp to kind of go in and kind of sharpen it up. So it's all much the same process as the rocks above, but this time we've actually drawn in the separation between the rocks, which you could model first and then not have to draw it in afterwards in the sculpt mode, or you can do it this way round as well. So there we have it, sculpting the rocks for the dungeon door. Hopefully you're finding this useful. Thanks for all your support, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.